the court has issue with the children reporting something, and then you're coming to court saying that you never said it. So it's either the children are being untruthful or you are being untruthful. So
welcome to Rebel Chaser. My name is Gail, and I've got a video for you from Judge Bailey in Texas, and I think you guys are gonna like this one. I'll let you watch.
All right, we're on the record in cause number DF1906267. Counsel, will you please announce for the record?
Yes, Margaret Hardage, attorney for Bianca Bravo, petitioner.
Steve Salazar, attorney for David Bravo.
All right. With
And
those,
Alina,
I'm sorry.
Alina Franklin is here with the Office of Attorney General. We filed an intervention.
Okay. And then we have Miss Ortiz from Family Court Services, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. With all those who intend to testify, please raise your right hands. Do you all swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to present will be the truth and the whole truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. We are set here today on a final for a modification. Prior to going on the record, you all had an exhibit conference and you stipulated to some exhibits. So at this time, petitioner's exhibit, which is mother's exhibit 1 is admitted as a summary. Respondent's exhibit 4 is going to be admitted as a summary. And respondent's exhibit number 1 is going to be admitted as well. That's the custody evaluation. It wasn't submitted to the court because the file was too large, but the court is taking judicial notice of all contents of the court records and will admit the custody evaluation as an exhibit. All right. Is there anything preliminary that the court needs to take up prior to getting started?
Just my other witness that's here is the current wife of my client. So she's accepted from the rule in case of being excused.
Okay. Counsel, are you invoking the rule?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So let me get her to state her name. Ma'am, would you please state your name?
Yes, ma'am. Mashika Bravo.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Bravo. So at this time, the rule has been invoked, meaning that you would have to remain outside of the courtrooms if you were physically here. So you would have to remove yourself from the room that you're currently in and go to another room. You're not allowed to watch this live stream on YouTube or have any conversation with anybody related to the case. And once you are called to give testimony, then Attorney Salazar will make sure that you get into the room. Well, I'm assuming because of the way that you all are set up, your husband will let you know when it's your turn.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Judge, am I incorrect to understand that the rules allow a spouse of a party to be in the room during a case if they are married? That's an exception to the rule.
I don't know. And I don't know. I do not know. I normally just.
I think that's been the rule since I've been practicing 36 years, but maybe.
I don't know if it's a rule or if I don't know if that's an actual rule or judges just allow it. But even when we're present in the courtroom, when the rule is invoked, everybody just stands outside. And I've never had anybody object.
I'll solve it this way, Judge. I would object to my client's wife not being present in the room. However, if the court overrules my objection and asks her to step out, then that's fine.
Well, do it like, how are you going to call your witnesses?
First, actually, I was going to call Miss Ortiz. And
you're going to call her?
Yes.
Oh, well, if you're going to call her, then she can stay there.
No. Well, Miss Ortiz is the family.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Bravo. Excuse me. Yeah. Bravo is your client's last name. Okay. Right. Yeah, I don't know. Nobody has ever objected to that. I mean, counsel, do you have any objection?
I don't have any objections, but
Okay, yeah, then she can stay.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Yeah, good question. I have to go do some research on that one because I'm not sure, and I do not mind saying I do not know.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So the issues that I see before the court are conservatorship as well as possession and access. And you all have come to an agreement about the amount of child support. Is that correct?
we are asking for arrears. And for our medical support, my client's insurance has gone up a little bit, so we were requesting an adjustment for that. But
Okay. All right. So I will get information from the state on that one. Matter of fact, now that I'm on that point, does anybody, well, never mind. Go ahead, Attorney Salazar.
I was just gonna say that my client was not aware of any kind of arrearage. And that he states that he's been current. But that's something we can address individually with the Attorney General, either during the trial, or we can just agree on the Attorney General's numbers
And,
once they review it.
and so Judge, we included them in the intervention we filed, but I do have updated numbers for the arrears for the judgment amounts.
Okay. All right.
oh, and I
So-
think my client is she might be having computer issues. Bianca, can you?
She's on mute.
Excuse me, Your Honor, my computer keeps freezing, so I keep going in and out. And do I have permission to log out and log back in? I don't know how to fix it.
Yes, ma'am, you do.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so sorry about that. We should be back.
No problem.
Okay.
All right. All sides ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So,
Sorry, Your Honor.
you all can choose to give an opening statement or a closing statement should you, it's your choice to make one. You don't necessarily have to, and that will include any examination for your time. You all are set at an hour total, so that's 20 minutes per side. Since there is the third party intervention from the state. Is it Hardage?
Yes, it's Hardage.
Okay, Attorney Hardage, would you like to give an opening statement at this time?
Yes, please. I'd like to give a brief opening.
Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, this case is about the children's best interest and stability. Bianca Bravo has always been the children's primary caregiver. She gets them to school, coordinates their medical and mental health care, and actively advocates for their education, securing one daughter's placement in a pre-collegiate program and the other's enrollment in a STEM program. When her daughter struggled with anxiety, Bianca sought help. When her living situation became unhealthy, she moved out, stabilized her home, and relocated the children to a better school district, all while working multiple jobs. Every decision she made put the children first. David's conduct shows a very different pattern. He has resisted mental health care, refused tutoring during his possession, and prevented school activities when they conflicted with his schedule. Where Bianca adapts her life to meet her children's needs, David expects the children to adapt to him. The litigation history matters. Bianca filed this case to secure mental health care for her children. David responded by seeking primary custody. When temporary orders limited his control, he pursued a de novo hearing. When that failed, he filed a motion to modify the temporary orders, which was also denied. This escalation is not about the children, it's about control. There's no evidence these children are unsafe with their mother. The evidence shows stability, progress, and advocacy, and disrupting that would not serve their best interests. For these reasons, we ask the court to deny respondents' requested relief and to enter orders that preserve stability and protect these children.
Thank you, counsel. Attorney Salazar?
I'm gonna hold for closing, Judge.
Okay. Attorney Franklin?
Same judge, I'll hold for close.
Okay, all right. Attorney Hardage, you may call your first witness.
I'd like to call my client as my first witness.
All right, you may proceed.
Can you please state your full name for the record?
Bianca C. Bravo?
And are you the mother of the children subject of this suit?
Yes.
How many children do you share with David Bravo, the respondent?
2.
What are their names and ages?
Jasleen Bravo, she's 13, and Zarina Bravo, she's 10.
And did you initiate this modification suit?
Yes,
And why did you feel it was necessary to ask the court to intervene at that time?
because my daughter's anxiety was escalating to the point that it was affecting and impeding her learning and physical health.
And what symptoms or behaviors were you observing relating to your daughter's anxiety?
And impeding her learning, difficulty.
Attorney Hardage, hold on 1 second. You have to slow down.
Okay, sorry, trying to get my time. Yeah.
Yeah, Joey is reading. I mean, she's writing everything
Yeah, I
you're
know.
saying. So just slow down a little bit.
Okay. So what symptoms or behaviors were you observing relating to your daughter's anxiety?
Impeding her learning, difficulty concentrating in school, emotional deregulation, daily concerns from teachers, and daily visits to the nurse.
And did you inform Mr. Bravo about these concerns?
Yes.
And how did he respond when you raised them?
He immediately denied it and suggested that I was lying.
And did he support recommended counseling or treatment?
No.
And what position did he take instead?
Again, he immediately denied her having any anxiety and that he felt that I should give him full custody and pay him child support.
And did you request a temporary orders hearing so that you could obtain treatment for your daughter's anxiety?
Yes.
And what did the court order at that hearing regarding your exclusive rights?
That I have exclusive medical and psychological rights for my children.
And since receiving that authority, what steps have you been able to take to support your daughter's mental health?
I reached out to Genesis. Both my children have individual and family counseling. I was able to get my second daughter that was diagnosed with anxiety disorder, her formal diagnosis. Then I took that diagnosis to the educational diagnostician with the school district. Then we were able to get her an IEP formally to where now she has school psychology every 6 weeks per grading period, per the IEP, per the IDEA.
And have you observed changes in your daughter since receiving consistent mental health support?
Significant positive improvements, yes.
And are you asking the court to continue granting you exclusive decision-making authority over your children's medical and psychological care consistent with the current temporary orders?
Yes.
And are you also asking for exclusive decision-making power over the children's educational decisions?
Yes.
Why are you asking for this?
Well, as an educator and a mother, I have consistently prioritized my children's educational needs and their development, enrichment opportunities, and here surrounded their school environment. David has denied all advanced tutoring opportunities and has no interest in their academic planning or educational future.
And where are your children currently enrolled in school?
Irving ISD, Brown Elementary, and Lamar Middle School.
And how are they doing academically and emotionally there?
They're doing really well academically and emotionally. I'm proud to say that I have gotten my children into the collegiate program with the dual pathways for high school and the STEM Academy for middle school.
And does either child have any special educational needs?
Yes.
What are they?
After the determination in an R committee decision, we thought that she would have an OHI, which is other health impairment, but they determined that she had emotional disturbance based on her anxiety disorder.
And how have you advocated for those needs?
I've coordinated the counseling, the evaluation, attended meetings, and communicated regularly with the educators, ensured the implementation of her IEP with accommodations, and I remain in contact with her case manager at the school.
And can you describe Jeslene's academic program or track?
Yeah, I'm proud to say that I got my daughter Jesline into the collegiate academic program with dual pathways for Irving ISD.
And what opportunities does that program provide for her?
It allows her to graduate with her high school diploma, her associate's degree, and a trade.
And if your daughter were to primarily live with her father, as Mr. Bravo is requesting, would she still be able to attend this collegiate program?
Unfortunately, no. The program is located depending, and she would lose all future opportunities to be in that program.
And how would changing primary custody impact the children's schooling mid-year?
It would impact them significantly for their academics, emotional security, social disruption, mental health supports, their daily structure, consistency.
And can you describe any involvement Mr. Bravo's wife has had with your children's school?
Yes, she contacted my children's teachers.
And how did you learn about this?
They emailed me snapshots of the messages
Objection, hearsay,
having
Judge.
with them.
Sustain.
Okay. And are you also requesting for exclusive authority to apply for and maintain passports for your children?
Yes,
And have you experienced difficulties obtaining passports for them in the past?
yes.
What reasons has David given for opposing the children having passports?
He stated that I would leave the country with my children.
And are you also asking that David continue to exercise possession under the expanded standard possession schedule?
Yes,
That said, are you asking that he return the children at 6 p.m. on Sunday like you're currently doing?
yes.
And how does this return time benefit your children?
It allows adequate time to transition, to complete evening routines, reset, prepare for school week, finish and complete the school assignments they have not been completed, and get appropriate rest, overall consistency and stability.
And typically when the girls come back, have they not completed their homework?
No,
And since you and David separated, who of the children primarily lived with?
me,
And when did that arrangement begin?
majority of their lives.
And has that arrangement ever changed?
No,
And who currently lives in the home with you and the children?
nobody.
Do you have a daughter of another marriage?
Yes,
Does she live in the home with them?
yes,
And how long have your daughters and their half-sister lived together?
since she's been born.
And how would you describe their relationship?
Very close, loving, and playful, just a great sibling bond.
And if primary custody were to change, like Mr. Bravo is requesting, how often would your daughters see their sister?
Never.
Why would they never see her?
Because of the possession schedule, it would be opposite, so they would never get an opportunity to see each other.
And how would separating them affect your daughters emotionally?
It would impact them greatly. They distressing, destabilizing, traumatizing, just total disruption of their family dynamic.
And can you describe your ability to communicate with your children while they are in their father's care?
Difficult.
And what typically happens when you attempt to speak with them during these times?
I request to speak to my children with David, and he denies me access to them.
And at the time of the child custody evaluation, where were you living?
I was living with my mother.
And would you describe that environment as healthy or stable?
No,
And why did you initially move in with your mother?
it was due to COVID and during the pandemic, and she lost her job. So we came in and we supported each other.
And have your circumstances changed since then?
Yes,
Where do you live now?
I live in Irving with my girls.
And how long have you lived there?
9 months.
And are you living in your own apartment?
Yes,
And is this intended to be your long-term residence?
yes.
And what differences have you observed in your children since you moved?
They're noticeably more relaxed, emotionally grounded, balanced. They just appear happier, more laughter, and a greater willingness to share their thoughts and feelings.
And during this litigation, Mr. Bravo was ordered by the court to take a drug test. Is that correct?
Yes,
And what were the results of that test?
he tested positive.
And have you been reimbursed for the cost of that drug test?
No,
And how much did you pay for that test?
$310.
And are you asking that he reimburse you for the cost of that drug test?
Yes,
And are you also asking the court to grant everything that's requested in your requested relief?
yes,
And do you believe that all of your requests are in the children's best interest?
yes.
I'll pass the witness.
All right.
Thank you.
Attorney Salazar.
Thank you, Judge. Isn't it true that actually your children have reported that they've been mentally and emotionally abused by you, causing them anxiety and confusion?
I'm going to object as to argumentative.
I believe that's what's in the custody evaluation.
Right.
Overrule.
No,
Okay. So you don't believe if they said that's true?
no.
Okay. But is it true that you have spoken negatively and in inappropriate ways regarding their father and their stepmother?
No, never.
So even though the children reported it, you're saying that they'd be lying at that time?
I'm saying that I did not say any yucky things or ugly things about them.
Have you ever used physical discipline to the children that's been brought to the attention of the counselors and CPS?
No,
So CPS was never notified by the counselors to come and speak to you regarding physical discipline of the children?
not my two children, no.
Okay, so you're saying right now CPS was never, you never talked to CPS about your children?
About my two children, no.
So if that were in the report, you're saying that CPS contact is a lie, is not true?
The CPS is closed. The case is closed.
Okay, but so CPS did investigate, is that right?
No,
Now, isn't it true that when the children come back from visiting their father and their stepmother, that you do interrogate them and wanting to know what happened and what's going on over there?
no, never.
Isn't it true that when the children did an interview in preparation for the social study, that afterward you interrogated them and wanting to know what was discussed and what they said?
No,
So if the children were to have reported that, are you saying that the children were lying?
I'm saying that I never had that conversation with my children.
So if it was reported, you're saying that's not true?
I'm saying I did not have that conversation with my children.
Okay. Isn't it true that Zarina's afraid of you because you become angry and physical?
No,
Isn't it true that you yell at the children?
no,
Isn't it true that you get angry or become hostile to them if they start to talk about their father and how much they love their father and their stepmother?
no.
Now, you said that you're the one that went to get mental health care, but isn't it true that uh, it took a while for you to go out and get them help?
No,
Now, isn't it true that part of this health care is due to the fact that your daughter, your oldest daughter, Jasleen, started to herself?
I was already in the process of getting her counseling prior to that anyway. She
Okay.
already had counseling services.
Okay, but your daughter does have a history for a bit of time of acting out by cutting herself in her arm. Is that right?
She does not.
So you're saying she never cut herself?
She had one incident and David was contacted. The crisis line was contacted. Her current counselor was contacted. The school counselors were contacted. Everybody was contacted in order to help her that very day, and it has never happened since.
Okay. And in the past, isn't it true that you've had a pattern of withholding the children from visiting with their father?
No,
And are the children currently in therapy?
yes,
Okay. And who are they in therapy with?
they have therapy with Genesis.
Okay. Do you know the therapist's names?
I have, what, am I supposed to divulge
You can
information?
state the therapist names.
Okay, we have Chandler, and then we also have Navia.
Okay. And isn't it true that the father also is responsible for taking and dropping off and picking up the children whenever they have therapy when they're in his possession?
No,
So you're saying the father doesn't take them to therapy?
no,
Have you ever had any kind of mental health diagnosis yourself?
No.
Have you ever been to a therapist yourself?
Yes, I have for domestic violence.
How about mental health?
That is a part of my process.
Okay, and have you ever been diagnosed with any kind of issues such as depression or anything like that?
No, just helping me with my domestic violence caused by being a victim in this marriage.
Okay. Now, you mentioned a drug test that you want to get paid for. That was from 2 years ago, 2023, is that right?
3 years ago.
2023? Yeah. Okay. And that's the only one you had to pay for, right? Or that you paid that you want to get paid for, right?
Reimbursed based on what the court had deemed him to do so.
All right. And there have been other drug tests which but the other drug tests come back negative, is that right? That you're aware of, or you're not aware of?
There were no other drug tests.
Okay. All right. Now, in your requested relief, you're saying that you want the stepmother to play no role in these children's lives as far as, going to school or picking them up and dropping them off. Is that right?
I'm going to object as to a misstatement of the facts.
It's the requested relief, Judge.
But that's not what's in there.
Okay, sustain, rephrase.
I'll rephrase. So isn't it true that you're asking the court to order that only you and your husband communicate regarding parenting matters regarding the children?
I don't have a husband,
I'm sorry, the father.
but I would like for David and I to remain the co-parents and the ones making decisions together, yes.
Okay, but you're also, in that same request, you're asking that step parents or third parties not contact the children's schools, medical providers, therapists, or any other extracurricular providers on behalf of the other parent. Is that right?
They don't have any educational or parental authority to do so. So if I can't contact the school, then I should be able to reach out to David and vice versa. We have to be able to co-parent.
Well, don't you think that puts the kids in a bind if, like, for example, they have a practice gets out early and they need to contact somebody and to contact the dad and he's working, that the stepmom could be able to go pick up the children. Wouldn't that make sense?
But wouldn't it make sense for me to do so? I'm the parent just as much as he is.
So like I said, are you objecting to the stepmom having any involvement with the children or regarding aspects of children with school extracurricular activities?
I'm objecting to her not having educational authority and or rights.
Okay. Now, also you're asking the court to order that the children not call their stepmom mom. Is that right?
That's right.
So you want the judge to order these children who may want to call their stepmom mom, that they can't do that. Is that what you're asking?
They have a mom.
I'll pass witness, Judge.
All right, Attorney Franklin.
Yes, Judge. It'll be brief. Ma'am, you understand in your requested relief, you made a request for a judgment on the arrears that are currently owed on the case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you understand, or are you aware the previous order did require payments for current child support as well as current medical and a prior order for dental?
Yes, ma'am.
And so do you understand, because of that, the Office of Attorney General would also be requesting a judgment on arrears for the child support, medical support, and dental support?
Yes.
All right. Are you in agreement with the state requesting judgments for those amounts? Basically, it will be 3 separate judgments for child support of $666.26 as of December 31st, 2025. Are you in agreement with that, with a judgment for just the child support arrears?
And then medical support on top of that.
And then medical support on top of that, yes.
Okay, and the medical support judgment would be $556.58.
Okay, thank you.
And then there's also a dental judgment of $95.17. Are you in agreement with that?
Yes,
And then just for clarification, as far as the health insurance, and I know you all agree to that, is it private health insurance through your employer?
yes.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right,
I have some additional questions for my client.
go ahead.
Just to clarify, there was a CPS case that was open during a child custody evaluation, is that correct?
Yes,
But it didn't pertain to the children subject of this suit, is that right?
that's right.
And it was ruled out, is that correct?
Correct.
Also, do you ever tell your children to advocate for themselves?
Always.
And do you think that this could be misconstrued as telling them what to say?
Yes, I try to advocate for them whenever they would return back from their dad saying that he made them cry, yell, would put his wife in front of them before their feelings, hurt them emotionally and mentally. So I would try to advocate this was their opportunity to have a voice whenever they did get to speak to the evaluator, that this is your time to say, like, these are all the things that are going on. I just want you to feel and know that you have a voice and somebody is willing to hear you.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, counsel, you may call your next witness.
I was gonna just, one more question to the mom.
Okay, go ahead.
So you did discuss with them about participating in the investigation regarding family court services, is that right?
Not participating, no, just letting them know we had a meeting to meet with them.
Okay, all right, thank you. No other questions, Judge?
All right, counsel, you may call your next witness.
I will call Mr. Bravo.
All right.
Mr. Bravo, what change are you asking the court to make regarding custody?
I'm asking to be the primary caregiver.
And please describe your current job and your typical work hours.
Typical work hours are Monday through Friday, generally 8 to 5 p.m. And I deliver packages for FedEx.
And on a regular school day, who would be responsible for taking the children to school?
It could vary, but more than likely it'd be my wife.
And who would be responsible for picking them up?
Her as well.
And what role does your wife play in helping the children's daily needs?
Daily needs, really everything. She feeds them, clothes them. She'll pick them up from school, like we talked about, pick them up, drop them off. She has a lot of benefits with her job, so through that they've been in counseling. But it's a general overall good relationship.
And are you aware that your wife contacted the school regarding your daughter's participation in the security program?
And that's it. Can you repeat that question again?
So, are you aware that your wife contacted the school regarding your daughter's participation in the security program?
The only thing I'm aware of is when she went to pick him up and my daughter wasn't ready in the pickup line. That was the only contact that I was aware of.
Okay, and what did your wife tell the school about your daughter continuing in that program?
Objection here, say Judge.
Sustain.
And have you ever told mother that the girls can't attend their weekend tutoring when they're in your care?
No, I'm not even aware that they were enrolled in tutoring.
Okay. And when the children are with you, how are they able to communicate with their mother?
Through my cell phone, through app close, the app that we use.
And are there times when the communication doesn't occur?
Rarely, yeah. There's times.
And you were required to submit to a nail sample drug test. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what was the result of that test?
A positive for
And have you completed any substance use treatment or assessment programs since then?
no.
Okay. No further questions.
All right, Attorney Salazar.
Mr. Bravo, what concerns do you have with the children continuing to live with their mother?
The main concern is their mental health and well-being.
When you say that, what specifically, what kind of behavior have you noticed from them that makes you concerned for that?
Extreme anxiety, which led to my oldest daughter herself, and also pulling out her hair. I forget the term for what that's called, but their overall anxiety is.
Okay. When this first started, did the mother bring this to your attention in any way?
No.
How did you discover that your child was having issue? Which child is it first to begin with? Which child was having these issues regarding the hair?
Our oldest, Jasleen.
Okay. How old is she right now?
13.
Okay. And how old was she when she first started?
She would have been 11.
Yeah. And how did this come to your attention that she was having these issues?
When we would pick her up from my possession weekends, they were always pretty anxious to come over. But as far as seeing the over the course of the summer, we were swimming and I saw a lot of scars on her legs and arms.
And did you talk to the mom about what you saw and what she was going to do about it?
It wasn't really a conversation, but I did ask about it.
Okay. And what happened after that?
Well, I immediately put him in counseling. I wasn't aware that they were going to counseling or getting any treatment at all from the mom. So I took it upon myself to put him in counseling.
What counseling did you put him in?
It's through online counseling, Spring Health.
Okay. And how long did that last?
It's still current.
Okay. And is there any cost involved in this?
Yes.
How much did you pay for a pre-session?
Well, we get 8 free per year, and then I believe they're $30 a session after that.
Okay. Are these costs covered by your wife's insurance?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the children's current counselor right now? Do they have counselors?
Yes. Jasleen's is named Jessina Tom, and Serena's is named Vanessa Navarrete.
Okay. And so you said they're still continuing this counseling?
Yes, they attend or they have a phone call, Zoom call once a month.
Okay. And since they started this counseling, have you noticed a difference in the children?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Now, even though they're still in counseling, are there any issues that you have with the mom continuing with having these children live with her?
Yeah, I mean, almost on a bi-weekly basis when I have possession of them, there's always some kind of issue going on where they're having a lot of anxiety living over there and a lot of complaints about their mom and how she treats them.
And do you bring this to the attention of the counselors as well?
I have in our initial meeting with the counselor, but I'm not aware of what conversations happened between the girls and the counselor.
Okay. So what's your attitude as far as the girls' conversations with the counselors? Have you ever sought any kind of involvement with them, or what has been your position?
No, I mean, whatever they want to tell me, but I let them have their private time with their counselor.
Okay. With respect to any therapy that the mother has for the children, has the mother ever asked you to participate in any therapy with them or any counselor with them?
No, she's not made me aware of where they were going and who the counselors are,
Okay.
or any treatments.
Okay. And have you physically taken the girls to any kind of other therapists other than the online therapists?
No, just online.
Okay. And regarding your wife that you've seen, how's the kids' reaction to your wife as far as them spending time with her?
They have a great relationship, very open. They talk about a lot of things. She helps them with a lot of things as far as being young girls growing up and preteens and being teenagers, helping them with their relationships at school and their school subjects. And
Do you believe that the change of the mom raises an issue regarding changing schools and friends? What's your position as far as changing schools and friends versus your position that you want to have full custody?
well, as far as changing schools, I mean, they've changed schools 5 or 6 times since kindergarten, so there hasn't been any consistency there. But if things were to change, I would let them finish out their school year and probably move them into a different school that has the same, if not better, opportunities.
Okay. All right. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, state.
Thank you, Judge. Again, it'll be really brief, but quick question. If you're asking the court to award you primary custody,
Yes.
would you be requesting mom pay you current child support?
Yeah, sure.
You're in agreement with mom continuing to provide the health insurance to her employer?
No, I would probably put them on my own personal insurance.
You have it available to you through your employer?
Yeah, through my employer and also my wife's.
Okay. Is that medical and dental?
Yeah, medical, dental, vision, and mental health.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Medical, dental, vision, and mental health. Yeah.
Okay. And you understand that the Office of Attorney General, we filed an intervention in the case specifically requesting a judgment on the child support arrears that are still owed on the case. Do you understand that?
Just now being made aware.
Okay. Essentially, we're requesting a judgment, but the difference between our request and what mom filed and her requested relief would be we request 3 separate judgments, meaning for your child support as one judgment, the medical as a separate judgment, and the dental support as a separate judgment. You understand that?
Yes.
All right. And so for your child support arrears, again, we're requesting the $666.26. For the medical, $556.58. And for the dental, $95.17. Are you opposed to any of those amounts?
No.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right,
I have a couple more questions, Your Honor.
go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Bravo, when did you first notice your daughter's the scars or marks that you mentioned?
It would have been the summer of 23.
The summer of
2023. Yeah.
And were you aware that mom had the girls in counseling at the time?
At the time, no.
And when did you put the children in counseling in relation to seeing the marks?
It would have been the following couple days, maybe a week later.
And how were you able to do that if mom had exclusive and psychological decision making?
Well, I wasn't getting any answers or information from her about putting them in counseling, so I took it upon myself as their father to do what's best for them.
Okay, no further questions.
All right. Anything further for this witness?
No, Judge, unless you have any questions, Judge.
Attorney Franklin, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Attorney Hardage, you have 4 minutes and 52 seconds left. Attorney Salazar, you have 6 minutes and 12 seconds left. Attorney Franklin, you have 16 minutes and 59 seconds left. Attorney Hardage, you may call your next witness.
I don't have any additional witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, you rest?
I'm gonna cross-examine Ms. Ortiz, but yes. I'm gonna cross-examine Ms. Ortiz, but yes.
Okay. Attorney Salazar, you may call your first witness.
I'll call Miss Anna Ortiz.
All right.
Hi, Your Honor.
Hi, you all can go ahead.
Please state your full name.
Anna Ortiz.
And Ms. Ortiz, what is your employment?
I'm a Dallas County Family Court evaluator
Okay. And how long have you been an evaluator?
since April of 2025.
Okay. And you had an opportunity to be an evaluator in this case involving the children in this family case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you personally involved in the creation and the recommendations that are contained in the Family Court Services child custody evaluation, which was submitted to the court?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And
And I need to make a correction that I've been employed since 2024, April 2024.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. And this evaluation was submitted to the court on about April of 2025. Is that right?
That's right.
You made several, in part of your investigation, you were able to interview both parents,
Yes, sir.
and you were also able to interview the children with the parents and also separately. Is that correct?
hmm
Yes.
The observation was not quite an interview, it was just an observation, and then I interviewed the children individually.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, your recommendation after these interviews and your further investigation through all the other sources, can you please tell the court why you recommended that the father have the exclusive right to determine primary residence for the children?
With the understanding that Jasleen, being age 12, and her younger sister, at the time age 9, did not have a strong preference for either parent, but it did appear that in their best interest, they, based on some of the reports that they talked about mom, a lot of the mental health issues that are present in this case, school being affected, and conversations with their teachers, lengthy conversations with their teachers regarding very strong concerns, including having to contact CPS regarding their health and mental health when in contact with mom, and the children's reports. All of those things together led me to that. But I do agree that the children need both parents,
Okay.
as well as the stepmother.
Okay. And do you find it concerning that the mother has denied any the issues regarding that were brought up by the children? Do you find it concerning that the mother would deny and maybe say those are lies?
I do, because in our lengthy interviews, joint interview and individual interviews with each parent, she, as I said in my report, that she herself reported and self-reported mental health issues, diagnoses, anxiety and depression, previous abusive relationships, personal, family interpersonal problems, and denying that the children reported these things. As you know, Judge, the children are aware that they can answer or not answer some of these questions, and they appear to be very genuine, very sweet, very intelligent young ladies, and very self-aware, and even requested more therapy with me, which not possible, but I am glad to hear that they're continuing their therapy. But I do find that concerning because that's something that has come, I think, out of the entire situation, not just mom.
Okay. And when you also investigated dad, you were also able to speak with stepmom. And what were your conclusions and findings regarding stepmom's involvement with the children?
Very involved, very genuinely loving towards the children. I believe they have a very great relationship, very close relationship. The girls both, huge smiles on their faces when talking about Mashika, and just a very loving home.
And your recommendation is for mom to have expanded standard visitation. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And have any of these other recommendations that you did changed in any way since you submitted your report?
No, sir.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right. Attorney Hardage?
Yes. In your report, one of your concerns was Bianca's mental health. Is that correct?
Yes,
However, she told you that she sees a therapist and takes medication. Is that correct?
yes,
And you did not speak with her current therapist before finalizing your report, did you?
no, ma'am.
And you did not conduct the psychological evaluation yourself. Is that correct?
Correct. It was provided.
So you relied on the psychological evaluation from 2022 that was prepared for a different legal case. Is that correct?
Yes,
And in your report, you described Bianca as emotionally supportive, loving, and deeply involved in her children's care. Is that correct?
correct.
And would you agree that those are strengths that reflect positively on her parenting?
Absolutely, yeah.
But in your recommendation, you didn't give those strengths a ton of weight. Is that right?
Correct.
And you also reviewed CPS records during your evaluation. Is that correct?
Yes,
And in regards to reports involving Bianca, you listed a single ruled out CPS case involving Bianca in your report. Is that right?
correct. There was another with an alternative response related to the children.
But that wasn't listed in your report. Is that right?
It was listed under the CPS, but possibly not under the Holly factors if I'm looking briefly, but it is under the collateral section for CPS.
However, in your concerns about Mother, you specifically noted that the school has had several CPS cases open against her. Is that correct?
Correct, because of those two. So when I list concerns, yeah, I don't obviously focus on the ones that would affect the children presently.
And despite the allegations being ruled out, you still listed them as a concern in your report. Is that right?
Correct.
And you also received documentation about a 2022 CPS allegation that David and his wife locked the children in a bedroom. Is that right?
Correct.
And can you explain why a ruled out CPS case was listed as a concern for Bianca, but another, ruled out CPS case was not listed as a concern for David?
I believe I'm not aware of, I'm not recalling the date on that. I don't know if it was more recent.
Okay, and you recommended that David be given the right to designate the children's primary residence, correct?
Correct.
And before this case, David had never been the children's primary caregiver, had he?
Only when the parents were together.
And in your report, you also noted that David reported a history of use, correct?
Correct.
2
And-
minutes, counsel.
Okay, and you accepted his statement that there was no current use at face value, is that right?
I had not received any other, I was not aware of the failed drug test at that time. So yes, at that point, yes, it did.
Okay. So you didn't require him to undergo any substance use assessment?
Not in my recommendations, no. I don't think it did.
But would it be concerning if a parent was frequently using in the home?
Absolutely, yes.
And Mr. Bravo didn't seem to indicate that this was relevant?
He didn't indicate that it was ongoing.
And by contrast, Bianca's mental health, which she was very open about, was treated as a concern. And then Mr. Bravo's, substance use was not. Is that correct?
With lack of police reports or any other documentation or proof of that, I did focus more on the mental health, which I've had a lot of collateral information on and self-report on, as well as the children and, like I said, references and teachers.
And how many teachers were you able to speak to?
I believe one was a written, and then Jaslene's was on the phone.
And did you include that information in the report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. No further questions.
All right. Attorney Salazar, Attorney Franklin.
I don't have any questions of this witness, Judge. Thanks.
Okay. Attorney Salazar?
Just briefly, did the mom raise any issues during your interview regarding any suspected drug use or anything like that that could be affecting the father's parenting?
I do not recall, but I do believe so. If I can briefly go through it, but off the top of my head, no. The father self-reported, but the mother's concerns, I don't think were drug related.
Okay.
Just looking through.
All right. Thank you. That's all, Judge.
All right. May this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Ortiz, for your time here today.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor.
Welcome. Attorney Salazar, you may call your next witness.
I'm ready to arrest and close, Judge.
All right. State.
Judge, ready to rest and close as well.
Okay. Attorney Hardage,
Ready to
you
rest and
may
close.
proceed.
Oh, I have no further witnesses.
Okay, well, you have 25 seconds left.
I'm good.
All right, Attorney Salazar, you have 1 minute and 51 seconds.
Thank you, Judge. In closing, Judge, I think Ms. Ortiz's testimony kind of sums up the issues we have regarding my client's concerns with mom. During my questioning, I asked her several different times regarding any issues on mental health, and she would not reveal any of the issues, even regarding, she didn't mention past relationships, more implying that it was my client's fault. I think through this investigation, it's shown that she cares more about her image and what's better for her than the concern and welfare for the children. When the children are reporting to the Family Court Services investigator that they have issues of mom yelling at them, physical abuse, mom sits back and says, "Well, they're lying. It's not true." But the reality is that these children are suffering in their current situation where they need a more stable place to be able to live and to have support from a parent and even a supporting step parent. And that in this report, they've expressed that they would like that. It's not that they don't want to be with mom. It's just the issue that mom is not providing that support that they need, and that also of not interfering with their ability to have their own thought process and to be able to have an escape to do when mom is asking them, "What did you say to the interview? What did you do this? Why?" I mean, that's not productive to the child, and it objectifies the child to feel that this is going to be their fault in the future, whatever happens, and that's not what it should be about. So that, and for a lot of other reasons that are stated here in this report, Judge, we're asking the court to grant it. My client has indicated he's willing to keep them able to finish the school. It was not disputed that in the last 5 years, they've had 5 different schools. Mom didn't come in, she didn't.
Counsel, you're out of time.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Attorney Franklin?
Thank you, Judge. Judge, the Office of Attorney General, we're seeking just the arrears, a judgment on the child support arrears as of December 31st, 2025, in the amount of $666.26. A judgment on the medical arrears of $556.58, and a judgment on the dental of $95.17. Judge, the state will request payouts of $50 a month on each of those. And again, that judgment date would be December 31st, 2025.
All right. Thank you. Is there anything further?
Not from the state, Judge. Thank you.
Okay. The court has a couple of questions. Ma'am, what was your issue with Mrs. Bravo calling the school?
It wasn't necessarily calling the school, Judge. It was.
I mean, contacting the school, excuse me, contacting the school.
Oh, yes, ma'am. So she contacted my daughter's teacher via Class Dojo. My daughter, based on good merit and grading, she was selected to be a part of the car line team at the end of the day, which she was super excited about. And his wife contacted the teacher saying that she was not allowed to do so because it didn't work with her schedule, that she was not informed about it, which I did contact David to let him know. That we're so proud of her and please encourage her. She told the teachers that moving forward, any communication needs to go through her, and that my child is her child and that she has the only right and say. So that was the thing that was most concerning to me, was that she wasn't taking into consideration what was best for my daughter, because as we know, when they're more involved with school activities or extracurriculars, they tend to do better in school. But just taking that away based on whatever her needs were, definitely was disheartening. And then having to have that conversation with my daughter that she wasn't going to be participating because Mashika didn't want her to.
Okay. Was it, you're saying she didn't want her to, that's just what you're saying? That she didn't want her to, or could it be that it just was a conflict with scheduling for her because she does pick up the children?
No, and talking to my daughter's teachers, all Mashika had to do was stay an additional 3 minutes, and she refused. And my first daughter gets picked up around 3:30, so she would have been done. She gets done at 3:20, so she would have ample time. And then my second daughter gets out around 4 o'clock, so she would have had between a 30 to 40-minute time frame. And my second daughter, her school is only about a minute or two from where I got it mixed up. Sorry. My elementary school and the middle school they're only about a minute or two apart. So that it was not a conflict of any sort. It was just what she wanted, and she did not want that for my child. I made it very explicit in the messages between her and my daughter's teachers.
Okay. Have you had an opportunity to read the custody evaluation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Something that the court found concerning was specifically from both children. Let me find the page. I want to say it's around page 15 or 6. Is it? It's amazing when you're looking for something, you can't find it. But your oldest daughter reported that you disparaged dad and stepmother on a regular basis. And then the youngest almost mirrored what she said. I'm trying to see if I can find her exact wording. Hers may be easier because it was italicized.
Interview with me or interview with children? Or no, was it at the interview with me, or when does it the interview with
the 9-year-old recalled on page 17, second paragraph. She is aware her parents do not talk to one another because they do not get along. She reported that her mother speaks negatively about her father and stepmother often. She recalled hearing her mother say that her father was not a very good person and that he was kicked out of the army. Did you tell your daughter that?
No, ma'am, I would never.
Okay, so the court, the court has issue with the children reporting something, and then you're coming to court saying that you never said it. So it's either the children are being untruthful or you are being untruthful. So I'm giving you the opportunity to say, which one is it? Is it that your children are not telling the truth, or is it that you're not telling the truth? Because these children are different ages. They were interviewed separately,
Mhm.
and they said almost the same thing, not that specifically about him being a bad person, but both of them reported that you speak negatively about dad and stepmother, and that they, referring me saying they is father and stepmother, never says anything negative about you all.
I understand, Your Honor, and I have read through it, and I am disheartened that at that time frame of when my children were interviewed, that was at the peak of when David and I were, when there was a lot of domestic violence happening. I do know when others were involved, such as his wife or my mother, the information was shared with them from him and his wife to my kids, so that when the conversations that I'd have with my mother about certain things, my kids were around.
Yeah, they talked about that too, that you and their grandmother argue frequently. So I'm going to ask the question again because maybe you missed it. Are the children being untruthful, or are you being untruthful? Because somebody is not telling the truth.
I'm gonna tell you that I have never said to their kids that their dad is anything negative. However, I have said things where we don't get along. We struggle with co-parenting. There is a reason why we do have counseling with Genesis specifically. I do want them to feel like they can advocate. I do want them to recognize, when abuse is happening. I have said those things, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so you do realize today, at least, that some of the things you have said to your children are inappropriate.
I apologize.
They can advocate for themselves without you saying anything about dad, and saying things like recognizing when abuse is happening. For a child, you're almost making them believe that something is wrong with their dad without saying it. I'm a parent too, so I have to be careful what I say, especially around my 6-year-old, because she interprets things a lot differently than an adult would. So what I'm not saying are the things that I am saying. Does that make sense?
You're absolutely right. Because as an educator, I do understand that the way that I engage in any conversation or engage with whatever related topic there is, that I have to be more intentional. And you're absolutely right.
Okay. And then your youngest daughter also is concerned, like these were her words, that you put a lot of blame on dad when a lot of it is you. This is what your children are saying.
I know,
They're-
I know what it is that being said, but also, Your Honor, we do have to, for some reason, and I don't know why, for some reason, it was not added on there, the reasoning behind why my children and I have sought before all of this, initial support from counseling because domestic violence is happening. So we do also have to consider that my children are being, manipulated and weaponized in a way that they don't understand, just as much as they don't understand like the things that I say and take things in a different context. The same thing with whenever they're with dad, when dad manipulates the situation, makes things more chaotic, so then they feel that they have to, interpret it and,
Where are you getting that from? Where are you getting manipulated? You use very specific words, manipulated and weaponized, because the report that I'm reading, that's essentially what they're saying you're doing, not dad.
I know.
And you said something else about, things being in the child's best interest. You said this earlier on when you were talking about your daughter and the reward she was able to receive from school. So clearly you understand things in their best interest. They love their stepmother. You don't believe it would be in their best interest to have a healthy relationship with the both of you, and referring to her as mom doesn't make you any less of mom?
I would love to be able to have a co-parenting relationship with her. However, when I have reached out to her prior to, she called me some inappropriate names. Just recently, she was trying to start a fight with me for no reason during the exchange. It is though they have created some, animosity and vindictiveness against me when I really want to try to co-parent with them. But you also have to remember, Your Honor, it is difficult to co-parent with an abuser. And I really am saddened that the evaluator didn't take the initiative to make sure that that was in the evaluation, because that was the whole intent behind it.
Okay, so as far as the court concerned, you all are joint managing conservators. Okay, so for the modification purposes, and I'm not saying that whatever you're saying didn't happen to you. I'm not trying to discredit it. What I'm saying is by law, you all cannot be joint managing conservators if abuse has occurred. You all are joint managing conservators. And I can only go off of the history of the file because I've read everything all the way back to you all's underlying court order, okay? The one that's currently in place. And it seems like these girls would be happier and would be much healthier mentally if you were not doing some of the things that you are doing. And I'm not saying that dad is perfect, because nobody is perfect. None of the parents on this Zoom are perfect. However, when you do things to kids to make them think that one parent is bad and the parent that you're trying to make seem bad is remarried, and you're also trying to make that person seem bad when they have a good relationship, you are contributing to the failure in communication and co-parenting. And as the judge, I have the task of making sure that I make rulings that are not only founded in the law, but that are in the best interest of the children. And based on the history of this file that I'm looking at, I do not believe it is in the best interest of the children for you to be the primary conservator, because as the primary conservator, I have to believe that that person that I designate as that is going to be the best to facilitate the co-parenting relationship. And I do not believe that is you. So what the court is going to do is the court is going to flip custody. The children are going to live primarily with dad, and they are going to do the expanded standard. And I believe that's in their best interest, because the girls said that they want to be with the both of you equally. They are saying to me through this report that they love both of their parents, and they do not like the breakdown in communication. They essentially don't like being put in the middle. That's what the court is going to do today, because that is in their best interest. You all are not to disparage each other at all in any form or fashion. The co-parenting app is there for a reason. It's there to assist you all, not for you to be codependent on it. That defeats the whole purpose of co-parenting. So, and I'm not going to order that these children do not call stepmom mom. I personally don't even like using the word stepmom, because you both are parents. Everybody is a parent. Anyone who takes up the parental role is a parent. I don't think that's in their best interest to do that to them, to take that away from them. They have a good relationship with stepmom, with Mrs. Bravo, and the court would like to see it flourish. That's healthy for them. Let me go back to the recommendation. I am going to grant father's request to order you to pay child support. father is also going to have the right to designate the schools that the children go to. If I heard correctly, the children are going to finish out the school that they're in now, and they're going to start another school in the fall. It shouldn't be an issue because his testimony was that they've changed schools frequently. There was no objection to that. There was no questions asked to anything contrary of that. The court is going to order that the children continue in counseling. I think it's in their best interest. It also wouldn't be a bad idea if you all attended some sort of family counseling together. Because at some point, you and Mrs. Bravo are going to have to work together. She is extremely involved. Based on the information that I heard, she is extremely involved in your children's lives. And you definitely want to have a relationship with someone who is that involved in your everyday life of your children. No physical discipline of the children, either parent. Do the children, well, at least the oldest child, have a cell phone?
I believe so, Your Honor, on the mom side.
Okay, mom, are you paying that cell phone bill? Okay, Dad, if you want to get the kids a cell phone, you're more than welcome to do that. I'm not going to order that the children speak with either parent when they're with, like when they're with you, if they want to call mom, let them call mom. They're old enough, right? But I'm not going to order anyone to do that. I just think that sets you all up to get you into more issues, and it's really not worth it. If you have to make a report to CPS, just make sure you all are doing it with good faith basis. Do not use CPS as a weapon. That's definitely not going to work with me in court. I also grant the recommendation from the state, the judgments as of December 31st, 2025, medical support judgment in the amount against father in the amount of $556.58. Dental support judgment in the amount of $95.17. Child support judgment in the amount of $666.26. Each of those are at $50 a month, sir. So if for any reason you're able to pay them off quickly or at one time, however you want to do it, that will fall off. Okay, you'll be done with that.
Okay.
And sir, I am going to order you reimburse mother $310 for that drug test.
Okay.
I am also putting an injunction in place that neither parent is to use illegal drugs. And that just doesn't go for today's court session. I mean, drugs are illegal, so don't use drugs. Mom's financial information. State, do you all have that?
I don't think we do, Judge. I'm looking now to see, confirm.
Dad, is there going to be any issue getting the children to school in the mornings?
No, none at all.
Okay, because my ruling starts today. It doesn't start for the next school year.
Right.
Primary, the children will be living with you primarily. Mom will have expanded standard.
Okay, understood.
And you all will follow what the Texas Family Code says about the holiday schedule. Your attorneys can explain it to you.
Okay.
And one of the children has a birthday coming up, right? February 10th?
Yes, the oldest.
Okay, so on that day, according to the Texas Family Code, mom is allowed 2 hours and she gets both kids on each child's birthday, she gets both kids. Now, it says 2 hours, but if you all come to an agreement to do something different, you're more than welcome to do that.
Okay.
Did you mention about the parenting app? Is there a specific one? Because I think we had requested maybe switching to Our Family Wizard, but I'm not sure. Because I think AppClose started charging or something monthly.
Oh yeah, they did. App Close is a good app though. Although they started charging, and I believe it's still cheaper than our Family Wizard. So App Close is fine.
So Judge, we do have her income information. It's only for the last 3 quarters of 2025, though. We don't have the fourth quarter of 2025 yet.
Okay.
So I can base it off of those 9 months, but it may come out a little bit more than what she actually makes. Because based on the 9 months, we have the monthly gross is 59.49. But again, this is only 9 months. We don't have the last quarter reported yet.
Okay.
I can calculate it based on that if I just get testimony as far as the health insurance and what that would be.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, just to ask you, Ms. Bravo, so you have the health insurance through your employer? Oh, you have to answer out so I can.
Yes.
Do you know how much it costs you per month just for the child's portion?
Right now I'm paying, it just increased to 455. So if you divided that by 4 and then added 2, it should give you how much you make.
Gotcha. Okay, because it's 4 people on the plan.
That's right.
So that comes to about $226 a month for the health insurance. And do you have any other children under 18 besides the 2 in this case?
Yes, I do.
How many other children
I have a 4-year-old. I have one.
that lives with you?
Yes.
Give me one moment. So Judge, the child support at 22.5% would be 1,056. Again, that's based on a monthly gross of 59.49. And giving her credit for the health insurance at 226 a month.
Okay. So this what we'll do. We'll set it at 1,056, considering that's all we have at this time. Attorney Hardage, when your client gets her W-2, if she would get that to the state, and then we can get the child support adjusted accordingly, that would be great.
Yep.
All right. Is there anything further for the record?
Nothing further, Judge.
Nothing further.
All right. So how long, Attorney Hardage, do you need to prepare the order?
Can we get the standard 30 days?
Well, that's not standard in here.
Oh, yeah, whatever you think is appropriate. I'm sure I can get it turned around pretty quickly, but.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Let me go look. February 6th or February the 13th?
We do the
13th, Judge.
Huh.
13th.
13th, yeah.
13th is cool. Okay. So I will set you all on a dismissal docket for the 13th. If for any reason you all cannot, or if there is any reason that you are you're not able to get the order circulated or whatnot to get it signed off on by the 13th, you'll only get one more reset after that.
Okay.
And that's it. Okay. However, if you are able to get it circulated and signed before the 13th, just submit the order to my coordinator.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so just a couple things I noticed right off the bat. When the judge asked everyone who was going to testify to raise their right hand and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, Mom didn't do it. Did she do that on purpose? Because she knew she wasn't going to tell the truth? Or was it accidental and she just didn't hear the judge? That's possible. But as you watch the hearing go on, you can pretty much see where mom wasn't telling the truth. And her daughters had a complete 90-degree opposition to what mom was saying. So the daughters, like the judge said, they all said the same thing. And it was in direct contradiction to what mom is saying. And it sounds like dad and his new wife are trying very hard to be an inclusive family. And mom is doing everything she can to make that a bad thing. That's just kind of what I saw. Anyway, I thought you guys would like it. It was very emotional at the end. Dad had tears in his eyes, and mom definitely did. So hopefully these daughters will have a more peaceful life, at least for now. They'll see, I guess, when mom gets her time and when they come back to dad, how they act or how the things they say. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.